G'day guys, my name's Adam, and yesterday was Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu launch day, and despite me telling myself I wouldn't buy this, I ended up picking up the special edition console anyway, and today I'm going to try and go through a very quick unboxing and tell you what I think. So right off the bat, I picked this up from Eevee Games, and they had a couple of pre-order bonuses direct from the Pokemon company, which are these key rings, which are pretty nice. But on to the main event itself. Now, if you know me, you're probably thinking, why didn't I pick up the Pikachu version? And the reason for that is a little bit convoluted, but long story short, I wasn't going to buy this, so I ended up buying preloading the Pikachu version on my regular Switch, this one here, which I've been playing for a few years. So the reason I went for the Eevee version instead now is because the game is preloaded onto the Switch, so I decided it'd be better to have a digital version of Eevee, the Eevee game and the Switch game, rather than having two digital versions of Pikachu, which would make no sense. Alrighty, so let's just get straight into it. The box is actually really nice. It's got the same art style as the games themselves, the game cases. Compared to the regular box, that's the regular box. So you can see it's obviously themed quite nicely. The main thing I was quite interested in was, obviously being special edition, it had the nice back and the decals on the front and the different coloured Joy-Cons. To me, if I'm completely honest, I didn't really think this justified the cost, but my son's really gotten into this game, and so I've decided that I was going to pick up a second Switch anyway, and I thought, well, if I'm going to buy a second Switch anyway, I might as well splash out and get the Pokemon version. Alright, let's get straight into it. That's a nice little touch. So once again, straight off the bat, these colours look a little bit nicer than I was expecting. I kind of was, from all the videos and from the box art, I thought this was quite a glarish yellow, and this was quite a strong tannish brown colour, but they're actually quite muted, very much matching the Pokemon themselves, so thumbs up from me. I won't go through everything in the box because, as you guys know, it's all pretty standard for the cables and the cords. The main thing I wanted to look at was the actual dock itself. Alrighty. It's one of those things, I mean, once you see this in the flesh, it actually looks, they're nice and printed, so it's probably a little bit higher quality than I was expecting. Probably not worth the asking price, but it definitely looks nicer in the flesh than what I was expecting. And of course, we have matching Joy-Con grip colours, although, well, that's not matching at all, is it? But then I guess they've done those opposing colours to match the... I think I've got that round the wrong way. Let's go back again. Yeah, I just realised that's Eevee's fur colour, and so that goes with the Eevee controller, and it's just the matching colours. That actually looks quite nice. And funnily enough, I've never used these Switch grip connectors, or whatever they're called, until this game, because when you're playing this game with just the Joy-Con like this, it's actually not very comfortable holding the one Joy-Con like this for an extended period of time. So you really need to add on these grips to give it a little bit extra width, especially in larger hands. Alrighty, now for the main event. There we go. It's a very subtle special edition. I think, it would have been nice if they'd done something to the front. It's quite interesting. I can't tell if those are stickers or if they've like etched or polished that design into the plastic itself. Anyway, one way or another, it does look quite nice, and it's just something a little bit special, so you can remember the game, I guess. So I'll put that to the side, and like I said, I won't go through anything else in the box. It's all pretty standard. They didn't do any special customization of the Joy-Con grip or anything like that. So I'll leave all the rest of this stuff boxed up the way it was. Now I'll quickly move on to the game. So you're probably thinking, why on earth did I buy the physical versions of the games in addition to having them electronically? And it's for a few reasons. It's because number one, I collect all the physical versions of all the Pokemon games, so I was always going to buy these two physical. Number two, I really wanted this Poké Ball Plus for both the game and for Pokemon Go. And buying this Poké Ball Plus separately in Australia is $69, and the cheapest I've seen it is $65. And I picked up both of these for about $90 each, so it kind of was a no-brainer to me. And the last thing is, I think I might have said before, but I actually am getting quite lazy with my Switch, and I'm really enjoying having digital games. So I've been buying a lot of digital games because you can just switch between games quickly and not really worry about your cartridges. So most of my cartridges just sit in their original cases. Now, I've already got the games out, and I've opened up the Eevee version. One thing which I thought was quite nice is instead of having not a lot inside this inside cover, at least we get quite a nice map of the Kanto region. One thing for any Australian viewers out there I found a little bit odd is normally Pokemon games end in .aus, but for some reason we've got the EUR version, which doesn't really mean anything, but when you're buying, when I'm buying Pokemon games, you know, physical copies, I always look for that -AUS because you always know it's legit. Alrighty, now on to the Poké Ball Plus. So this one is actually in a silicone grip, which I'll discuss in a separate video. And here is this one in just as it comes. Now I've actually got an attachment on this one to go into a Hori, it's called a plug and charge, I believe, this thing here, which looks quite cool, which I'll also look at in a separate video. But quick thoughts on this. When I first got these, I was sort of both impressed and a little bit disappointed at the same time. So I was really impressed because these are nice and weighty. They just feel really high quality, like very similar to the Joy-Cons, but just heavier and a lot more solid. But I was also kind of disappointed at the same time because they're way smaller than I was expecting. It's quite hard to convey the size, but they're not exactly the most comfortable thing to play with for extended periods. And I've already played the game for about 8 hours in the first 24 to 48 hours. And so I've been using this for about 8 hours, and for about the first 2 hours I just wasn't enjoying it, and I was just considering either playing handheld full time or going to the Joy-Con itself. But I've actually started to really get used to this, given it a go. I've used it with Pokemon Go, and I think it's starting to win me over. I'm actually, finding a way to use it in my hand that works quite nicely, where I'm actually, navigating with this part of my thumb instead of holding my thumb like this, and I'm not gripping it tight. So, but overall, I am impressed with the quality of this attachment, and I think it's the sort of thing where if I can ever find them for sort of $50 or less, I'd really like to pick up a few spares, because I think it's quite a good peripheral, especially for collectors and just for playing with in general. Final thing I thought we'd show is what the console looks like all together. Now it's one of those things, get a bit of focusing going on. In the flesh, I think these colours look a lot nicer than what I was expecting. But it's one of those things, it doesn't immediately scream to me that this is Pokemon, but it just looks nice. And it's something different. I mean, it's been almost 2 years, I guess, of Switch now, and it's really looked the same the entire time. So it's nice to have something unique, to commemorate the release of the first Pokemon game on the Switch. So if you have any questions about the console or about the game, please let me know in the comments. But otherwise, that'll be it for this one, and I'll see you again in the next one. Alright, bye.